In this video, I just want to show you how to build a geometric interpretation of the trig functions in GeoGebra. So hopefully by the time the video ends, you'll have something that looks relatively close, at least to what I have here. I might only get through the chord function, just depends on how long it takes, but just so you can see what it is, the radius of the circle is changeable. You can turn on the radian markings, so it'll mark them off on the arc as well as the transformed arc, and then you can turn on the grid if you want, and then you can also turn on individual one of the three primary trig functions, the chord, tangent, or secant. And I think that's all that's on this one, so let's see if we can get that set up. So first thing, I'm just going to let me get a new page open. So first thing, I want to have a radius. I want to have a slider that will control my radius. So I'm going to click on the slider tool. I'm just going to drop on the page. I'm going to call this R. I didn't do that on the other page. So it stands for the radius. The minimum should be 0. Maximum should be 5 is sufficient, I think, for now. You can change that if you want. So then we're just going to drop a circle somewhere on the page. So I'm going to click on this and look at the options I have. I just want to do a circle with a center and radius. So I'm going to click on that circle tool, and I'm just going to drop a point somewhere, and then it asks me for the radius, and I'm just going to type in R, which is over here, and then say OK. I don't know if there's a way to set it so that the default is not to show the labels, but I don't want to see the labels on all these objects. Let's test the radius. Slider controls the radius of the circle. That's good. Unlike GSP, oh, no, you can, I guess. I thought it wasn't going to let me move it, but so there's our circle. I'm going to get rid of this grid in a minute, or the axes in a minute here, but I need them for, actually I don't need them. I can right click on the screen on the white part here and just turn the axes off, just because I don't need it, I don't like it. But the next thing I want to do is get a point over here on the right side of this circle, that's sort of straight over from A, and this is very different than GSP. So I can't do a translation and just say, I can't enter it in easily like I can in GSP. So what I'm going to do is move on to the input bar. I'm just going to type in a point 0, 0, and I'm going to type in another point 1, 0, and I can use that to just establish horizontal. So I'm going to come up to the line and the line segment tools, and in there, the second one from the bottom is vector. I'm going to define a vector from B to C. And now I did all of that just so that I can come back up to this transformation tab and go down to the translate by vector. I'm going to translate A by vector U. And then once I have those 2 points, I'm going to move and make a, let me think, I probably want to do a line here. So I'm going to make a line, and then when I do that, I'm going to come back up to the point tool, and I want to make an intersection here at D. So I just used the intersection tool and just clicked on the intersection. I don't need to see A, so I'm going to right click on it and check off of show object. Same thing with all these points here. You can right click on them and then just click on show object, right click, show object. You should also know that if you hover over something, it lights up over here, and if you hover over something here, it lights up in the geometry side. So it's really nice if you're trying to figure out what something is, which means I should be able to right click on this B and say show object, and it should hide it from over here. The vector here, U, is right. I can right click on it and say show object, so it goes away, just so it doesn't clutter my page. So I did all that to establish this point D for right now. I'm going to leave the line in, but eventually I want to take that out. It drives me nuts that it's labeled over here, so I'm going to right click that and click off show label. And now I want to just establish a point somewhere on the circle. And then when I do that, I want to define the arc I want to identify the arc that's determined by these two endpoints D and E along this circle. So to do that, I'm going to go up to the circle tool again, move down to circular arc. Unlike GSP, you've got to select the tool first, then the objects. The nice thing about GeoGebra, if you hover over this, it should tell you what the things are that you need. So I need a center and 2 points. I'm going to click on the center, and I'm going to click on these 2 points, and it should give me the little arc D here. I'm going to right click on the circle, go to object properties, and then I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to change the line style to dots, and I think that should be it, and that helps me see the arc separate from the circle. I think that's all that I needed. So now I want to I'm going to drop a point on the page somewhere and get my sort of transformed arc. So I'm going to drop a point on the page, and I want my arc to be along a horizontal line. So I'm actually going to select the line over here on the perpendicular and parallel. I'm going to make a parallel line, and I'm going to move up here. It'll say select the point and parallel line. So I want through F and that parallel line. And now what I want is to copy this arc length onto this line here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use, think about this as a compass. So I'm going to take this length here from from D to E, which is right here, D 1.17. That length is associated with this arc. So I'm going to jump up here. I'm going to say I want a circle with a center and a radius. And the center is going to be F, and the radius will be D. And I think you have to type that in. I don't think it'll let you click on it. So there's D. And then I say OK. And now as I move this, move E around, the circle should get larger. So now all I want is the right side. I want that intersection. So I'm going to come back up here to points. I'm going to ask for the intersection. I'll click on that intersection. I was afraid of that. That's going to get both of these. So I'm just going to hide G. And actually I'm going to see, let's see if we can delete that. It'll let me do that. Nope. So I'm just going to hide G. So I'm going to click over here, hide that. That should be good. Now I want to define the segment that connects F and H. I'm going to move back up here, segment tool, F and H are the endpoints, and then as soon as I do that, I think I can get rid of this line. So I'm going to say right click and show object. So I'm going to do a right click on this circle, show object, right click on this segment and say show label. So uncheck show label. In fact, I think I don't want to see the labels for F and H either. And we can check again, make sure it still works how we wanted it to work. So that looks good. And just a short discussion here. I know when we did this for those of you who did this with me in GSP, we had to do a lot of work to make sure that we were measuring this with the radius as our unit. And in GeoGebra, these measures are always dependent on the grid that's underlying this thing. So all of these measurements are working out where this radius, when this radius is set here to 1, this is 1. What's this sort of the ratio of the radius to this arc is always treating this as a 1 because of the way this is set up. So sort of works out, but it's a little bit hidden what's going on. All right, so now let's see. Next thing we want to do is put our chord in. So I'm going to do a perpendicular. I'm going to do perpendicular to E through this line here. I'm going to make an intersection point here. And then I'm going to draw the segment. And then I'm going to try to hide the stuff that I don't need. So I don't think I want to see this line. There's another line here that I don't think I want to see. And then I get this to work every once in a while, but not all the time. I'm going to right click on that and say show label and see if it gets rid of all the labels, which I liked. So there's our function, or there's our chord function, or our directed half chord function. So now I want to project that on top of this right endpoint. And so what I need to do is move over to the segment tool. I'm going to drop down menu. I'm going to make a vector, and this is point I, and this is E. So I'm going to make the vector go from I to E. And then as soon as that happens, I'm going to right click over here on V, the vector, and I'm going to go to basic, and I think I'm in the wrong spot. So that might happen to you also. If you right click on something, so even though this is V is highlighted right now, R is still also highlighted. So if you double click on it, it's usually better, and then do object properties. And then right away I want to change the name of this to chord, because we're going to have a whole lot of stuff. So I can remember what that vector is. So now I can do translate by vector. I'm going to hit that translate by vector tool. I'll click on the right endpoint, and then I'll translate it by the chord vector. And then when I do that, I'm going to make a segment. And now I should be able to move this along. And radius should make the circle larger. Everything should move correspondingly. And then I just want to do a couple of things to clean stuff up. So I'm going to right click on this endpoint, and I'm going to turn the trace on. And I'm going to right click on this segment. I'm going to turn the label off. The vector here, the chord vector, I want to turn that off. I don't want to see that over here. Oop, I think I did the label. So turn the object off. That's good. Now I want to make the colors match. I'm going to right click, object properties. I'm going to go to color. You can do what you choose. I think I tried to do stay consistent and use a blue. I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to turn the thickness up to about 3.5. And you can do whatever you like for that. Same thing over here. I'm going to right click, object properties, thickness, 3.5, color, and the recent here. I'll just click on that blue so make sure I'm grabbing the same one. Should be a connection there. And then I'm going to right click on that point and go to object properties and style. And I'm going to turn the point size down to a smaller, just so it makes the graph look a little nicer. Now if I spin this, I should get the collection of points. So that looks good. And okay, so I think that's probably where I'll stop for this one, and I'll pick up from here on the next video. But should be able to create your chord function here, and then we'll continue on to add a couple more of the features.